Our first contract is with our parents whom we love. We believe and accept that they know what they're doing. My parents were Christian, therefore I and my siblings were too. In my years of young adulthood, I spent time trying to determine what reality was. Why did it seem to me that there were different realities? A world reality, a community reality, and an individual reality. And why is there not only one reality? So, firstly, what is a reality? How real is reality? Is it real because we call it reality? Or is there any realness to reality? Is it just all made up? What if you are somewhere fast asleep and you're dreaming? How would you know that you're dreaming? The only way to know that you're dreaming is to wake up. There is no way to suddenly realize in the middle of the dream that it is a dream. Because if you realize it, that realization is happening in the dream through the stuff of dreaming. Sooner or later, you will again continue to dream. Because when you are stuck in a dreamland, everything you are experiencing is a part of that dream. Reality is not as real as it appears. That is why there are multiple realities. One of the biggest clues that you are in a dreamland is there are multiple realities. Because what is the definition of reality? Reality cannot be multiple. It has to be one. There cannot be many versions of it. It cannot change at a whim, whenever it wants to, however it wants to. Reality has to be the same for all. There cannot be any confusion in our understanding of reality. If my reality is different from your reality, then there is something wrong there. Maybe we're just using the word reality, replacing it with our own perceptual reality. It is not an existential reality, but a reality that appears real for us. You say your first contractual agreement was with your parents. It is true. Even before you recognize yourself, you recognize your parents. Even before you identify yourself as an individual, you identify those around you. In fact, your identity begins to develop from the outside, not from the inside. On the inside, there is no one entity, there is no one thing that you can hold on to and say, this is me. Your individuality has not yet developed. You don't even know what individuality means. You are a bundle of activities, thoughts, emotions, desires, fears, all swirling in an ocean of unconsciousness. To know who you are, even to know that you are, your level of awareness, your level of consciousness has to reach a certain level. Before it reaches that level, there are lots of things happening in your world, but they don't make any sense. They just come and go. And once in a while, you identify something that you can recognize, a pattern that repeats itself again and again. And that becomes your anchor. Now, if you pay close attention to where are these patterns coming from, what are the patterns you're holding on to, it can always be traced back to the people around you, immediately recognizable people around you, more often than not, your mother and your father. What you're listening to is basically their voice, their thoughts, their desires, their fears, filtered through your dreaming process. Somewhere deep down you're there, but that identity is very hazy, very confusing. In Alice in Wonderland, Alice meets an enigmatic figure, a cat that calls itself the Cheshire Cat because it comes from Cheshire. But there's something very peculiar about this cat. It has a face, it smiles, but it doesn't have a body. Once in a while, it comes, it grins, it shares its witty remarks, it shares its profound wisdom, and it disappears. What is this Cheshire Cat? Firstly, Alice in Wonderland is not a nonsensical story. There is a connection between the characters Alice meets, the confusion she's in, the rabbit hole she's fallen in, the wonderland she's lost in, to an individual's journey into the world. We all have fallen into a rabbit hole. We don't know that. It takes a long time to realize that we are actually in a wonderland and we accidentally stumbled and fell into a rabbit hole. Philosophically, if you look at it, Alice in Wonderland is a spiritual book. As childish as it may sound, it follows the same trajectory as your mind. It follows the same trajectory as your unconscious, lost self. Why is it a wonderland? Because it is not real, firstly. And how do we know that Alice is in a wonderland. She's not in what we recognize as reality. Notice this. When Alice is in Wonderland, she's actually not aware that she's in Wonderland. She just has a vague memory that something has happened. And she's seeing all these characters. She's moving through different experiences, which does not make any sense. She's confused all the time. She does not know where to go. She's asking for directions, and once in a while, this Cheshire Cat appears and gives her some directions. That Cheshire Cat is your budding individuality. Something that is on your side, that is trying to help you to navigate this mysterious landscape. If you leave that out, you are totally lost. You don't know where to go. You don't know what to do. All the images and experiences that you're seeing are basically voices and experience from above, from a realm outside of this wonderland. You are stuck in a world of experiences where you are hearing things, you are seeing things, but you don't know the source. Just like a child, when it's asleep, it's hearing the mother. It's hearing her voice. And that voice is creating images, experiences. But it is unable to tell that this voice is actually coming from outside. Alice asks, in one instance, asks the Cheshire Cat, which path should I take? And this cat says, where do you want to go? Alice says, I don't know where I want to go. So the cat says, then it doesn't matter which path you take. It's a very deeply philosophical statement. It's anything but a children's book, if you actually think about it. If you don't know where you're going, then how does it matter which path you take? Your choices are irrelevant. Because you don't know why you are here, where you're going, there was no way for you to make sense of your experiences. And when you cannot make sense of your experiences, you will be experiencing things not as one coherent reality, but as multiple realities.